TGIF, it's September 22nd, Friday, September 22nd, 2023. Good morning, Candy.
Good morning. Good morning to my listening audience. And you know what? First of all, let me start off with an apology for us starting the show at this time. So, I'm glad you said it's the 22nd. For some reason, I mixed up my national colors today and was fully prepared to come in red until somebody
I didn't know there
breaks me up, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to go on air and in public with the wrong color. Today is white. No,
you living for people?
It's national. For me, I like the idea because it's showing unity and it is showing respect to something that we're all trying to put forward, our patriotism or nationalistic values, that type of stuff. And I was like, oh my God. So I had to pitch back in the house and get something white. So, yeah, that's
really?
why I'm late. Yeah. So that's why I'm late.
I couldn't care less.
Yeah, but see, that's you and that's me.
I didn't know that. Well, I actually didn't know there was a color today, but still.
We have it in the group chat. It's the group chat I pulled it from.
Yeah,
I was like, wait,
no one tells me what
am
to
I
wear.
wrong? So kind of ran back. But, I think of all the colors and the symbols and everything in the flag, the white stars are my favorite because of what they represent, hope and liberty. That, and I'm kind of obsessed with white. So I was like, how did I not know today was the one day that I am free to wear the color I'm obsessed with?
What I don't understand, though, I seem to recall in school being told the two stars represented the two islands, but is it both? Could it be both?
I think initially they started with the two islands. If you had listened to Sir Kennedy's speech, right, he said that's what it started with initially, but then they went to cabinet and they made an amendment, and they moved that they represent hope and liberty, because remember, Nevis was discussing secession quite a bit in that period.
Ooh.
So they didn't want it to represent the two islands, and then Nevis would have seceded. So then they were like, you know what? Hope and liberty. So
I see. That makes sense.
yeah, so hope and liberty. Yay! And it's white, and there's stars, and I mean, everybody knows what stars signify. So, yeah. So I kind of had to run breathlessly here up the step and everything. I was so annoyed. I was like, how did I not know?
Yeah, I didn't
So when you said Friday the 22nd, I was like, yes, Candy, it's the 22nd, right? Because it actually has the dates. So I guess I'm prepared for next week.
Yeah, I actually didn't. Also, they have colors for that. Also,
next week is next week is red. Because it's 5 flags and there are only so many Fridays, right? 5 colors and there are only so many Fridays.
Okay.
So next week is the last one. It's red. And then on the 30th, did you see what's happening on the 30th?
No.
Damien Jr.
Oh,
gone.
that. You mean? Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm.
So I maybe that's why I thought it was the 29th.
That, yeah.
Because Damien Jr. gone. I don't know how you feel about him,
No,
but like in my head,
I'm a huge fan.
him and I have a whole relationship, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I love him. I like the family. I like his music, his backstory, everything. So, yeah. So he's going to be here for our Freedom concert on the 30th of September. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So what else is news?
I was trying, you know what I was trying to get? I was trying to get the names of the persons that won the Patriotic Day dress thing that they had. You know, they had a patriotic wear competition that was held on Monday during the national fair. The national, I think it was state. State is the word I'm looking for. National State Fair. And National Pride. Where am I saying state? National Pride Fair. Mm-hmm. And I heard that 4 persons won the prize, but I couldn't get their names. I kind of wanted to see the pictures as well, but I couldn't stay for the entire fair. I had to go to another engagement, so I missed out on that. So if you guys are listening, could you post the photos, show us the person, show us how they represented or patriotic wear? For me, that's like kind of cool. So I want to see it. I like the variation.
Okay.
So I was trying to get that, but no such luck. And then I kind of had on my schedule, because I missed yesterday, So in my schedule, I wanted to discuss the reset, but I heard that you guys already discussed that. So we're kind of going to just do a recap of the show that we've had for the week. And persons are free to call in and discuss anything that they want to touch on that we might have not expounded on, or that we would have missed, or stuff that is actually happening that we have not touched.
There's one thing I wanted. There's one thing I wanted to mention.
What's
which
that?
Didn't make any sense to me. It's something Gaston Brown said about Liat. He was talking about, the murmurings about this new airline coming on, and then he was complaining.
What new airline? Not Inter-Caribbean.
Yeah, no, but that's not the point. He went on to say that all these islands are benefiting from Liat, but they don't want to contribute. So
Same old story, yeah.
yeah. So I was thinking, well, can if you started a business and you asked me to become a shareholder and I said no, but I still do business with you and you make money from me, how is that an issue? You see what I mean?
No, I think it's further than that, right? Because I know there were instances, and I've actually heard them say it, where the governments were kind of taking advantage of it. Is like, so some of the people that are actually working there, or people that actually take flights, or like the government ministers, it's kind of like, all right, your mom owns a store. Mm-hmm. You want to go in the store. Mm-hmm. You want to get stuff. You don't want to pay for this stuff because it's your mother's store. Mm-hmm. You know, that kind of way? Mm-hmm. So there was a complaint that they were taking advantage of it. So they had like these astronomical bills just mounting because they're just taking flights. They're going here. They're going there. They're sending these ministers, their reps, whatever. So you want it to be a regional airline. You want to get the benefits of the regional airline, but now that the time has come to pay, you kind of want to say, well, you know what? Me really won't be a shareholder. Me really won't pay this money.
If that's true, that's bad. Why aren't they paying Liat? I mean, especially if you're a country that's not, like in our case, or any country that's not contributing.
You know how Caribbean people behave, right? And in the Caribbean we have a saying, and it might not even be just limited to the Caribbean. It might be just people in general. Like, your friends will come and want freeness from you if you have a business, but they'll happily go to a stranger and pay the full amount, not even ask for a discount.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a case of that. But you sent something to the chat that I don't know if I wanted to touch it, but it really annoyed me.
Oh,
yeah.
God, man.
And it just goes to show how people view us in the Caribbean. Because when I saw it, so for those who haven't seen the video, it's an interview between a British morning show host and the president of Guyana, President Irfan Ali. And the president was bringing to the fore the discussion about reparations. And the host was so disrespectful to the point where he's slamming his hand down on the table. What do you want from us? Do you want a palace? First of all, would you speak to King Charles that way? Would you even speak to the Prime Minister of England that way? Would you speak to any of the members of the House that way? Would you speak to Biden that way? Who do you think you're talking to?
One of the commenters said, would you speak to Macron or...
Precisely. Would you speak to Biden or Macron like that? That is the president of a country.
Exactly.
An independent republic country. That y'all soon gonna make y'all way down anyways to go and beg oil and form relations with.
I was shocked.
Listen, you were shocked. I was annoyed. Because the first thing that came to my mind was, this is a leader of a country.
A whole country.
Why would you speak to him like that? I don't even care who you are. Because you know what? None of his colleagues would speak to him like that. You would never see Mia Motley or anybody else speaking to him like that. At least not in public. If they have their little arguments, behind closed doors, that's fine. So you're not head of a state. You're doing your job. You're a television show host. And you find it best to speak to the president of Guyana like that. And I know the video has been making the rounds, but I was like, do I even want to touch this? Because I'm so incensed. Because where do you get off? In other news, No, I really
that
was kind
one-
of like, do I
that
even
one.
want to go down this road? Because I knew I would
Yeah.
get annoyed, but I
That
found
they-
it so disrespectful. And I'm a type of person that I like to follow rules, and you know, I'm somewhat
He's lucky it wasn't Mia.
no, but you see what Mia did with that other one. Remember the same BBC talk show host that tried to get smart with Mia, and Mia fixed her.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and you very well know what country it is. You know he's the leader. You know who you're interviewing. So, why? What caused that?
Very strange.
Yeah, it's just
And
it's
disrespectful.
Just, yeah.
We have a call coming. You want to take it?
Of course. We said we were opening the lines this morning.
Okay. Adelante, you're on.
Good morning.
Hi,
Morning.
Miss Henry. Good morning. How are you doing?
Oh, you're giving God thanks, man, for another day. Every time
Amen.
you make one more day, you give thanks, eh? When you look at the news, you say, Lord Jesus, the people went to sleep last night and thousands gone in the morning.
Let me tell you.
Good morning, Miss Henry.
Life is that fickle, you know.
Typical case, like, you know, you said that, and automatically my mind went to Libya. What happened in Libya with the flood? I
I'm
think
telling you, you're
the
going to
last
sleep.
total was like 15,000 persons missing and presumed
just
dead.
like that.
Yeah,
And let us take our life simple.
yeah, it's crazy.
You know, we don't even think about the future.
Yeah, you really gotta give thanks when you wake up and
Yes.
you know.
I mean, and even in Morocco, I mean, all over the world, we hear all of these disasters and so. Really, really time to prepare to meet our God.
Boy.
Now, I heard the interview, you know. I said, this person really out all. I think what really got them upset is when he asked them, say, well, you are one of the beneficiaries.
Yeah.
He took it straight to them.
Yep. President Ali answered him appropriately. He didn't get
I'm
down in the
telling
mud
you,
with him.
I think that is
He
what
didn't lose
offended
his
the person,
cool,
'cause they
but he
expected
fixed
some
his
kind of
mix.
vague,
Yeah.
down the bush answer.
Yeah, nonsense. He was like, when I come
And
to the
you-
palace
you-
and I
you-
see
you are a beneficiary.
our green heart wood.
Why we want?
Yes, he fixed him. You're right. You're absolutely right. But
Yes.
for me, it's like
He
even
he did not back down, you know. Well,
Right.
I think they're learning the lesson now.
because even why did he even have to fix him? You know, like why did this
Well,
guy
fix
feel
him.
that he
See,
could have?
I'd rather fix him rather than just. I'm gonna walk out.
Me too. I think I
But
probably
then
would
they
have
will say,
walked out.
"Oh, you can't stand." All right.
Yeah.
We want a palace. Well, the palace is ours.
Yes, he told him that. He said the palace is ours. Our green heart wood and our workers built it proper.
Lord, it sweet me. He should have put in journey part and say, and the things from Africa, India is ours too, because we're black.
It's true.
You understand?
Well,
Not only the
they
walls
took from
are ours.
India too. India, Africa, everywhere. All the colonies, they have
India
stuff in
is
there.
ours. All right. Now, this thing about the reset. Yesterday on Freedom, Austin Edinburgh, good morning, Austin, if you're listening.
I think I heard you talking to him, you know.
Explain the reset. Because there was obviously some misunderstanding or miscommunication.
Which aspect of it? Because there was like
On the
7, right?
electricity.
Okay, electricity. Let's see. All right.
'Cause, you know, the Prime Minister said everybody going to be reconnect. They're going to reconnect all who disconnect. He said, not so.
But
It's the
everything
same
has
old-
rules.
It's the same old thing they had before. You have to go into electricity department to discuss your payment plan and how you intend to do it.
But
That is what-
I have it right here, and it says Independence 40 reset, electricity arrears reset, immediate reconnection for all residential Skelec customers currently disconnected. All are encouraged to pay regularly. For further assistance, contact Skelec for payment plans, use
Right.
electricity responsibly, conserve energy. But I mean, what? Okay,
Wait,
so
wait,
what did
wait.
people
Now,
really
wait,
think was gonna
wait.
happen?
Wait, Candice. The first statement says immediate reconnection.
Yes.
That is not correct. Because people now think they're looking for the people to come to put back on the current.
But
So,
How they gonna know that the people?
so
How
wait,
how
so
would they?
the plan, the reset is not really a reset.
But
It's
No.
the same old
But-
system.
I have to agree with the interpretation that Miss Henry has, because I think if
But now Austin, Edinburgh came to give that thing, you know, because people were under the misconception that they're going to put them on and then they could go down. They said not so.
Okay,
Well,
but
go
wait.
down there first. The same thing goes for the NHC. You have to go to the people first.
But wait, Miss Henry, don't skip to NHC yet. Okay, so
Well, they're part of the reset.
we all
Go
know
ahead.
how electricity works, right? Any organization, they have different sections and different persons responsible. So let's say, for instance, you're part of a disconnection team, Azard. My electricity is disconnected, but Miss Henry works in the office, right? So I expect my electricity to be reconnected. How would you, that working on the disconnection team, know that it's okay to come and reconnect my electricity without Miss Henry telling you, well, she came in and settled the bill, or we're giving her a waiver? Of course, it can't work like that. I mean, let's be reasonable and
But
logical.
Let us be reasonable.
Everything has
He miscommunicated.
What I think is,
I mean, y'all.
I
I
have
think
to
y'all
agree.
being too.
I have to agree that is miscommunication.
Nah, I think y'all being too basic because everything has
No,
rules
no,
and
no.
regulations.
No. Hello. English
So
is
how they
English, you know.
supposed to know that you
English-
disconnected to go and put you on
Well,
back?
why did he go? Why did he go and say it when you know it is not so?
I think
Yeah,
that's
and
where y'all
just
being
give
a
me the
little bit
water.
crazy this morning.
But Miss Henry, right? If it is that, to me, that is the normal process. If you want to get reconnected,
you have to go into the
Yes,
office.
So it need not
So
be
why
said.
you call it a reset?
So
You
why
can't
call
reset
it
what is there.
why we said something that is there? If the process is already there,
But,
it's
but
already
have
established.
any of us do any of us know what the payment plans were and if there's been an
negotiate
adjustment in them? Exactly.
You
See, no, you negotiate
that
them.
has always been the plan.
No, honestly, I think the two of y'all being a little
No.
bit crazy because nothing in the world works that way.
But-
like
Look,
even
look.
if I say in my store, right? I say you get so I had a promotion running whereby you come in, you buy for a helium balloon, right? Foil balloon filled with helium, right? And you come in and you get 3 balloons with that. Obviously, you have to come and purchase a balloon in order to get the 3. You can't just come
That
in and
is
get the
true,
3
but
free
when
balloons. So
this-
everything has
listen,
terms and conditions.
But the term that was
I am
said,
not criticizing you. I said that there was miscommunication and giving people false hope.
yeah, and I agree
so
with
maybe
that.
they should have
Even
put that
a
immediate
lot of
reconnection
programs,
after,
right?
right?
No,
A lot
but
of
Maybe it's the way
programs.
they
Give me a
lay it
chance.
out.
Give me a chance.
okay, go ahead, Miss Henry.
I don't want to talk across you.
All right, sorry, Miss Henry, go ahead.
There have been a number of occasions, not just this one, all governments.
All right, let's hear it.
Oh, you know, you could do so and so, and when you go, you might go Ministry of Finance. You say, well, I don't know nothing about that. So I am saying, before you make things public, make sure you set up the mechanism to carry it out.
Yeah, and I must say, I was in a particular.
It's just that, because the truth is, there's no reset.
Yeah, I was in a particular department just this week.
I'll hang up.
Wait, Miss Henry,
Okay,
before you
fine.
go, I was in a particular department just this week, and somebody asked of one of the initiatives that was given in the reset. And the office said, well, we don't know about that yet. You understand? So that is why when I come and said it seems to be there was no consultation with the departments, it's not an instance that I'm just saying it.
Oh, no, that happens quite frequently, right? I myself can testify to that. So here's what I can concede with, right? At 2.
But wait, before you go in.
Put immediate reconnection
Uh-huh.
for all residential Skeleton customers currently disconnected at the bottom, right? So start
Okay.
off with saying, all are encouraged to pay regularly. For further assistance, contact Skeleton for payment plans. And then, because I see the whole, like, okay, people going to run with it. But it's the same thing with the $1,000.
But you see,
everything has
if-
terms and
If
conditions.
you lay it out like that, then I could understand. Because that is different. Because that is saying that
Maybe put it at the bottom, right?
That-
So
yeah.
say go into Skelec first, discuss with Skelec, and then reconnection. Maybe not even immediate reconnection plans available.
Okay, well, that is clearer. Because I could tell you this, right? I could tell you this. And because people discuss these plans, as soon as they're given out, people talk about it.
Of course, because it was a public
And
announcement.
everyone who read this, who looked at this, interpreted it the same way as if you would get reconnected without any payment to the arrays. That is what
Oh,
most
without payment. So
Yeah, that's-
immediate. So okay, so people would be like, okay, me on the electricity. The
just-
Prime Minister said immediate.
It just
It's the
comes-
same way like the man stand up in Parliament. Or the Honorable Prime Minister stand up in Parliament and say $1,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
People start to check their account immediately. I mean, for everything holy. How? He literally just said $1,000. You think that, like, soon as he say it can magically appear on your account?
But then, Candy, in all fairness, even if it doesn't appear, I don't think many persons thought that it would have been immediate. Maybe there might have been some. But still, I think that is a different situation to when saying immediate reconnection for all residents.
I take your point, Azard.
You see,
I do. Maybe they needed to formulate the wording, put the wording in a different order, like.
And this is where people,
because the layman is gonna run with a different idea.
This is where people are going to say, "Oh, he's being critical. He's being this," but there has been a pattern. And all I'm saying is why can't we change a pattern?
Is the wording.
Instead of making misrepresentations, instead of wording something that is not true, or to make it seem
I wouldn't say not true. Maybe sensationalizing it, because you want it to have a certain effect. But then for me, maybe I'm just reasonable.
And if it is,
I knew that these things would come with conditions.
If it is that majority of the persons interpret your message a certain way, then perhaps the fault is not the persons who interpret, but the persons who have written it. And in legislative drafting, when we draft stuff at law school,
interpretation,
it always was a question as if you may draft something and you interpret it one way, you ask somebody, what do you gather from this? And you ask somebody, what you gather from this? And if majority of the persons see it a certain way, then perhaps
that's how it is.
Not, perhaps it's is a way in which the draftman has communicated that, even if it's not the intention of the drafter to communicate it in that way. And so when these things are written the way it is written, it's
misleading. It's misleading.
It's misleading.
Maybe it's just an adjustment of the way they place the stuff. But that makes me draws my mind to a
and
case.
Even the adjustment in how it places stuff is strategic at times too. So again, I take the point. If they had done it like that, where you say all customers are encouraged to pay regularly at the top, come in and talk to Skelec worker rep, reconnection immediately, then that conveys a different message than immediate reconnection.
So placement is the issue. Agreed. I can see that. I can I can agree with that. You know what this reminds me of? I don't know if you look at American news or international news, but there was a case recently where Burger King was taken to court, right? Because of their ads. So persons were saying that they're presenting this big Whopper and these fries. And like if you've looked at documentaries, like you'll see all the things they do in the background to make these ads look a certain way. Sometimes it's not even real food. And they'll like melt ice so that you could see steam coming up, like if the fries are that hot and the burgers are painted or sprayed with all kinds of aerosol, whatever. It's just for the ad, right? So they took Burger King to court because the ad showed this huge Whopper, but in actuality, when you went to buy it, it was like this big. So they were like...
Okay, so you clearly know. You clearly understand what I'm talking about.
No, I agreed. I can concede that it's the placement of the words. Didn't you see me readjust the words?
And you did it so beautifully.
They have people who specialize in, I forgot what food dressing.
They're specialists for it. And if you see the things that they use, like in behind scenes, it's not even edible after that.
It's like when persons are advertising. Let's talk about food. When persons are advertising a menu, and you see the pictures of how the burger's gonna look,
and the names of the dishes, right? When you go, it's just chicken cooked in butter.
But not even that. Sometimes you're looking at the picture and you're thinking about this is what I'm getting.
This is what
I'm
I'm
getting. And when you come, you see.
When you go to Taco Bell, you get these two tacos.
Sometimes ain't even this size. Is the way in which it's presented.
Horrible.
The stuff look like someone was sitting on them.
But You know, he's right, because it's like they will go on the internet and take all these nice pictures
Yes.
and put it on the menu, or like put it on the online ads.
They entice you, and when you reach there, you're disappointed.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah. We're gonna call.
Yeah, hey, caller, go ahead. Hey, caller. Hello.
Morning, folks.
Morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to the listeners home and abroad. Carl Brown here.
How are you, Carl?
I did draw that same conclusion yesterday to Mr. Ellenbauer on Freedom Show, and he gets very highly rated.
Uh-oh.
So I had to run off the line to don't cause no contention with the show.
Which one did you refer to, Carl?
I was referring to the same thing that the Prime Minister said in Parliament on Monday: immediate reconnection. And most of the nation think that you would have go into Skellet and Skellet reconnect you for those who are disconnected. Mr. Ellenbauer and the Prime Minister now is saying you must go work out a payment plan. Skellet got a payment plan for years. So he ain't telling us nothing new.
So wait, the payment plan has always been the same plan? Like there's...
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Skellet have that. If you're disconnected, you go in with them and you sit with them, and you work out a payment plan to get the inner raise, and they would put you back on.
But wait, Carl,
and
the
you
payment
will pay
plan...
the present bill and pay something of the inner raise.
Okay, I was going to ask you how it works. Okay.
yeah, and that has
So
been
that is not no reset.
that has been advertised for months now, sometimes years. Come in and have a discussion with us, even
Thank you very much.
Even before I saw something where there was an article posted on Facebook and an ad posted by Skellet that said, "Come in. We want for you to work out a payment plan." So what is the difference now when you talk about the reset? Then
That's what I was trying to ask.
Talking about immediate connection.
But you see, that's what I was trying to ask you, Carl. Like, because I don't even know how it works, right? But I'm thinking, okay, so did Skelec have something in place before? And you said yes. And what are we discussing? So the reset
plan, if you are disconnected, if you have a high bill and Skelec write you or call you, whatever,
right,
you could go in and sit with them
okay,
and work out a payment plan to continue reducing your inner rates, and Skelec could put you back on, and they will give you, a thing where they will tell you, well, when your present bill come, you will pay your present bill monthly, and you will pay whether $50, $100, $200 on the inner rate till you get it done. That is something Skelec have running all the time for years.
Wait, Carl, let me ask you a question, right? Okay, so Skelec has that. I saw it. So Skelec has that, right? And this reset plan, is it the same thing that Skelec is doing, or is there a difference? Is it that Skelec is telling you that you got to pay a third or a 40%, and reset is telling you 20? Like, how does it work?
I'm sure you know.
Hear
Carl,
what the Prime Minister said, and Mr. Ellenbauer said too. Immediate reconnection. So people have the notion that you go in and you would show them that you're one of the disconnected persons.
So
they will reconnect you right away.
So Carl, I have...
But then now they are telling you must go in to work out a payment plan with Skelec, right? For the inner raid. So that is not immediate connection. You ain't telling us nothing new. Skelec have that all the time.
I feel like people thought they were going to get free electricity, but of
that
course
is
you...
not-
That is what
But that's madness, because how can a country run that way, or how can Skelec make a profit, or anybody make money if you're going to give everything out for free?
And I agree with that, Candy, but that is what was said.
Oh my goodness.
That is what was said.
I must be the
And
only
listen
person
here,
that didn't
this is
understand
not
it
the first
that
time a
way.
Labour government come with that, Remember under Prime Minister Douglas, he told us come and march with them to get down the current bill, And thousands of people went out and marched, and then a week or two later, or three, he come and said that you all have an inner raise and you must go into the electric light company and work out a payment plan.
So
Carl.
Then
Carl,
he also turn and say when he see a woman bill, he feel he could cry.
Carl, before you gone, right?
exactly, because if somebody got $15,000 in arrears, y'all want Skelec to write off that
But
$15,000?
Candy, based on what he said, that is what
Nah,
people...
I think that's being unreasonable.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No one is saying that no one is saying that just clearing a bill that someone has in arrears.
Obviously, we got to go in and talk to the people and come
But
to
that-
some kind
that
of
w-
terms. First of all, how they gonna know that? How would the people that doing reconnection know to come and reconnect Hazard? Because Hazard disconnected. It has to come from the office.
Can I read something that was posted on Skelet at the end of July? It says, for immediate release, Skelet encourages all customers to clear arrears. It's dated July 28, 2023. The St. Kitts Electricity Company Limited is advising all customers in arrears to bring in their accounts in good standing to avoid the inconvenience of being disconnected. To remain connected, customers in arrears are encouraged to use one of the many bill payment options to settle outstanding debts. Skelet encourages customers who are experiencing financial hardship to visit our customer service department at our main office at Central Street to speak to one of our trained debt management officers to learn more about our deferred payment arrangement plan. With a deferred payment arrangement plan, customers will be able to clear outstanding arrears in small monthly payments while keeping current. Skelet looks forward to the kind cooperation and understanding.
What month was this?
This was July.
Do you remember in June that Patrice
Thank
came
you
here?
very much.
But wait, hold on, wait. Remember in June, Patrice came here and announced that they were giving away music festival tickets?
That's end of June. That's
Yeah,
June.
for
That's
music,
just
yeah,
That's
June, right. No, wait, follow me. Remember
yeah.
Patrice came and she made that announcement that they were giving out Music Fest tickets, VIP treatment, yada, yada, yada. Does anybody remember that they had terms to that? The terms were that you had to pay at least $500 to your bill if you had a bill in arrears. Come on, everything has terms and conditions.
But she said it there on the show. You didn't have. She didn't just say it in isolation. She said it and then gave the requirements there and then.
You know what? This is what somebody is saying on the chat. Advertisements are just advertisements, however it's pronounced. However you pronounce it,
fine.
are just invitations to treat. And you know this, Hazard. They are not to be taken without discussions or inquiries. Obviously, we had to go into Skelec. So when you reach into Skelec will tell you, this is what your reset looks like. You pay this amount, we could reconnect you. I would never in my wildest dreams think that, okay, my electricity disconnected, and because the PM said immediate reconnection, Skelec gonna roll up and reconnect it. Because first of all, that message has to come from whoever in Skelec office deals with disconnections to the persons that are actually on the street to go and reconnect it. So I would never think it would happen automatically. You think the $1,000 just magically gonna appear on our account? I mean, I think people being a little bit unreasonable.
If the head of a country says to the people of the country that you're going to be reconnected immediately,
it can happen immediately. My magic. So Dr. Drew can click his hand and it can just your thing can reconnect.
The average person is going to think that regardless of arrears, they're going to be reconnected.
Well, we really had to
really actually
school. This is
I don't think the school is the. I don't think the word school is appropriate.
To the end of the year, and so you don't see about all these benefit dropping in cost and you know special thing when you bring in things from overseas. You order your things them, and then when your things them come, you go to the department that these things you're supposed to clear, and only to be told by the workers there, well, we hear the leaders say it, but we have it in black and white, so we have to go as normal.
Yeah. So wait, okay, all right. So let me get this straight. So wait, y'all, the two of y'all making me feel like No, I cannot accept that. I cannot accept that because you know what? If Prime Minister Drew had come on air and tell all of us go down to the pier and jump off, whether you could swim or not, nobody would think that he meant literally whether or not you could swim, go and jump off the pier. Why? Because we're smart, logically thinking individuals. I think this is madness.
I think
I'm sorry.
Those two scenarios cannot relate.
No,
to
because
the same
you're
thing.
basically saying that whatever he said, that is what it is. Everything has terms and conditions, even with ads. If I'm saying in my store, buy one, get one free, you still have to buy one to get the other one free.
But you see, in that statement, buy one. But Carl,
when I go there, I expect to get the service that you announced.
Candy,
crazy.
Okay, wait, Candy, Carl.
Well, we heard it on the radio too, and we see it on the media, but we don't have it in black and white. So we have to go as normal.
But Carl,
That's
listen,
what we're saying.
Carl, Candy is making the point, right? But Candy, in making the point, is doing what a reasonable person would do. Give the requirements the and then. Buy one, get one free. So you
The
automatically know.
requirements there in the ad too. It said going to Skelec. It does. Let me read it back for you. I know I'm not crazy.
But what
It
we
says
say, that
go
is the
in
all
to
time,
Skelec.
not a reset.
It doesn't say go in. It says all are encouraged to pay regularly.
For further assistance, wait, where is it? Where's the Skelec
says-
one? Hold
it
on.
says
For further
immediate.
assistance,
Read-
contact
okay.
Skelec for
Read-
payment plans.
read the top
it's
line.
right there.
Read
No,
all of it.
I'm reading the whole thing.
No, just read-
At some point in time, they
read-
do tell you go in to Skelec. Look, for further assistance, it's the third point. Contact Skelec for payments.
After your immediate connection, go into Skelec.
Because Dr. Drew has a wand, because he's probably related to Harry Potter, so he can just
Well-
wave the wand and you're going to get immediate reconnection. Come on,
what
guys,
the Prime
stop.
Minister has to do, and the office
Seriously.
within the Prime Minister, and all the communication is to communicate clearly.
I can agree to it being reworded,
And
but I
communicate
cannot
clearly.
agree to people being unreasonable and thinking that
No.
it's going to happen automatically. Like, even now, my $1,000 not in my account.
I don't think people are thinking.
Y'all thought it was going to happen
You-
immediately? So
you-
you think immediate reconnection means immediate reconnection? Come
Well,
on.
if we can't take words for what they are, then when are we going to take
y'all
words
being
for their
unfair.
value?
I'm sorry, I'm not in agreement.
What-
I
what
think y'all
I
being
have-
a bit
what I've
unfair.
always-
Everything has terms and conditions.
You have to admit, magical thinking is a
Is
problem.
what, a weakness here?
Is a problem we have around
We
here.
probably
yeah.
all went to Hogwarts then.
No, what
No,
I'm-
I don't mean. I mean,
Yeah,
the,
because
to
I
the
mean,
average
come
person.
on, be
I-
reasonable.
I
Even
think-
if you go to the market and they tell you, okay, perfect example. When you go to the market, have any of you been to the market and tried to buy herbs? When they're in short supply, you can't buy one without the other. You have to get the time connected to the chives.
Yes.
Everything has rules
Candy.
and terms and conditions, even herbs.
But listen, Candy, what we are saying is that if you are going to be in a position of power where persons are listening to you, you have to be careful with your words, because your words must be clear for everybody to understand. It's like when former President Trump made certain assertions, he would have incited, based on interpretation, certain things, but he could say, I never tell them to do that.
Here's
So
what I
when
can
you-
agree with you with that the wording should have been done a different way,
Okay.
because it is misleading to a point, and I think that they
If we-
should have put I wouldn't even say immediate. I would say reconnection, because now when you say immediate, right, you kind of putting a little pressure on
Candy-
Skelec. So I would have said
Okay.
reconnection, but I would have put it like
Because
probably as the third point.
as an attorney, if I see a contract like that is written like that, I am not going to, whether or not it is something that, in your head might be practical or not, I'm going based on what is written and enforce that contract based on what you have
Come, let's go,
written.
because I can quote Carboyle and
No.
Carlisle
This
and
is not-
Carbolic
this
soap
is
for
not-
you.
This
Come.
is not an advertisement. This is not an advertisement. Contracts are supposed to be clear, and this is, to me, is a contract.
How this is a contract?
It is a unilateral contract.
Ay, ay, ay.
All you have to
Not
do is
you
perform.
pushing it. Wow. We're
Hey
going to take a
guys,
break,
we're gonna
guys.
take a break.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
50,000?
$50,000.
$50,000? Win big with TDC. Win up to $50,000 cash in the TDC Mega Rewards Mega Raffle. To enter, you must be a Mega Rewards member or sign up to TDC Mega Rewards Loyalty Program. Shop at our TDC retail stores or online at shoptdcgroup.com to receive one entry for every $250 spent. Draws take place from July to November. Win $10,000 every month with your entry rolled over so you can win, and win even more.
Yes, this is 50.
Terms and conditions apply.
Watch the trail of the insect stop when you spread a web up.
Flying, crawling, insects are falling when you spread a web up. Nothing comes close to Bob. Bob, the number one brand. Serious, get Bob.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Enjoy your summer with the Bank of Nevis Limited. It's that time, and the bank has the perfect summer loan package for you. Take a vacation, enjoy a staycation, advance yourself academically, or prepare your children for back to school. It's your choice with up to $30,000 unsecured loan with an attractive low interest rate. Additionally, up to 5 years to repay. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Offer ends September 30th, 2023. Bond strong.
Reset is offering. That's up.
Stand by.
Third term.
Okay, yes. So we have had our off-air discussions, and we want to bring a conclusion to what we were discussing earlier.
Can I
go?
go?
Go ahead first. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is my question.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what I was trying to get from Carl as well. It's Skelec usually has a reconnection plan, right? Based on what he says, you go in, you have a discussion with them, they tell you you have to pay the current bill, and then what's in arrears, you pay on that monthly, right? Perfect, so we understand that. What is now being offered? What falls under the reset? Is it that it's the same Skelec plan where you go in and have a discussion and they tell you this is the amount you have to pay? Or is there a set percentage or a set amount? What's the difference in what is being offered in this reset plan? So that's my question. That's what I'm trying to get from everybody that's calling. Like, okay, we know Skelec has a reconnection thing that they usually do with you, but what is happening for the 40th independence anniversary reset? Is there something different?
And I think
Because at some point in time, let's be real. You have to go in and discuss it with Skelec, even if it's not listed at the top of the list. As opposed to immediate reconnection, you still have to go and tell Skelec, well, look, because I mean, it's not 10 people got electricity, so Skelec gonna know if these 5 don't have. You have to go into Skelec and say, look, I've been disconnected. I want to tap into the reset, and then Skelec tells you the terms. So at some point in time, you still have to go in to Skelec. So that's my question. Like, is there a difference in what's being offered under the reset as opposed to what Skelec usually offers? Because then that would signify to me that, okay, there's a difference and it's a real reset.
Okay, can I now speak?
Of course, sir.
What I'm saying is that obviously I would think that there's a process, but I would also think that Skelec has a record of how many persons is potentially connected to electricity, how many persons have been disconnected, because those persons would have been connected at one point or another. So if you're connected at one point and then disconnected, they should have the record of how many persons have been disconnected. I am also saying that politicians, leaders of country should also be careful with their words. Responsible. I'm saying that let's not sensationalize policy. Let's give persons the full requirements necessary, because when you sensationalize policy, people are going to hold you to the word. Your word, what you say, might, on the face of it, to the average person be unreasonable, but you're still saying it. And so there will be some persons who are going to be misled. So if you say reconnection immediately, persons are going to think, based on what your words immediately suggest, that it's going to be done immediately. Then don't use those words. Change your words. Indicate to persons, we are going to reconnect you as soon as possible, not immediate.
You guys gonna take some calls?
Yes.
Sure.
So I am saying, and this is what I'm always pushing, because I find that a lot of times persons don't use their words wisely, and they try to mislead individuals. And as the electorate, let's not mislead citizens of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's use our words carefully and communicate clearly.
Okay, 9 minutes
So
after
I'm
9
not
o'clock.
getting a
We have a
Hogwarts
call.
letter.
Caller. Caller, go right
Hello,
ahead.
good morning.
Good morning. My concern really is about the bigger picture. Yes,
Hey,
I agree.
hold on, Mr.
with-
McMahon, is that you? How are you
Yes.
doing?
I'm pretty good.
We missed
Now
you.
I think. Yes, I had a death in the family.
Yeah, we sent our
Yeah,
condolences,
yeah.
and I'll
Yes,
repeat them again.
thank
I
you.
really
Hey,
hope
and
that you
need-
pull through.
You need to
with
let
it.
me know when the funeral is. So.
It happened.
You're gotta
What?
be kidding.
It happened.
No, I was trying to
Ah.
reach you to find out. But
Yeah, he gotta be kidding.
okay.
I'll deal with him
Yeah.
off air, Mr. McMahon. Don't worry, I got you.
I thought I had his number, but I didn't.
Yes. Yes, as I was saying, though, my concern really is about the bigger picture. Yes, I agree that really government communications really need to be improved, that there's too much ambiguity when it comes to these announcements. There should be kind of ironclad, leaving no room for these kinds of equivalent, so to speak. But like I said, the bigger picture is the psyche that is being perpetuated. In the last administration, I think they gave the impression of goodies coming from time to time and, freebies and this kind of thing. And, of course, people like those things, but they do come at a cost. And it is not a good idea to perpetuate this thing that, well, every now and again we're going to get some kind of freebie from somewhere, right? That I don't think is a good basis for building a sound nation. It's not a good footing to do so on, And it reminds me a lot, because there are other ways they could have done it. They could have said, for instance, that we'll give a credit of $1,000 for use of any government service, okay? Be it electricity, be it cable, be it whatever, right? But you have $1,000 credit. That automatically affects people living here, all right? And doesn't, because really and truly, if you're saying it's $1,000 for all citizens, or they do have stipulations, really and truly, that rules out a lot of citizens, okay? In that sense, it's not fair. But if you say for services provided by the government, I think that is more reasonable. It reminds me, for instance, of the peace program, too, where essentially you are rewarding bad behavior. Well, what about all those who stayed on the straight and narrow? Shouldn't they have been rewarded for that? So here, too, those people who religiously, you can't assume that everybody didn't make a sacrifice to do it, but those who religiously paid their bills, etc., shouldn't they be rewarded in some way? It just seems somewhat unfair. And while I agree that it's a good thing to ease the stress off of people, I think it can still be done in a fair way. And as I said, I don't like the perpetuating of the psyche of things being given free. To me, if the government has excess money, what it means is that the taxes are too high and they should reduce them, okay? And it also means if they have surplus money to do this, that it should be put towards some kind of productive activity. There's nothing more dignified than someone working in a decent paying job, getting decent pay for work they've done, and then taking care of their own affairs, whether it's their bills, whether it's building a house, whatever their affairs are, okay? And get people less dependent on government handouts and freebies.
Mr. McMahon?
Right? That is not going to be sustainable. Yeah.
Could I ask you a question? And objectively speaking, when you saw, because we were on the discussion with the reset, when you saw that with the skeleton, what was your interpretation?
honestly, I didn't pay that much attention to it. I just figured that I couldn't, for one, I couldn't imagine that they were just going to erase everybody's arrears. I mean, that would have been
Thank you very
unreasonable.
much.
Yeah, but
Yeah, you couldn't. I mean, after all.
Some people have some real crazy
No,
overheads,
but,
arrears.
Yeah, I know, but no, I know. We're not talking about what is reasonable or not. I'm talking about what is written.
On the face of it, right.
When you read that as interpretation as it is written, not putting in any.
I honestly looked at it as well. At least it's easing the discomfort of having those services disconnected. That is what it was, and whatever arrangements happened after that, were side dishes, so to speak. But not that they were going to erase anything.
And that
I like the idea that the Prime Minister proposed that, in this day and age, really and truly, those are basic services, and all our people should have access to them. So the idea that they've been disconnected, whether it's because they really could not afford to pay them, or they were just workless and decide, man, that's government thing. Don't pay that. Deal with other stuff that I want accomplished. Regardless of the reason, it's not a good look in this day and age, claiming to be the number one economy in the certainly in the OECS, the sub-region, if not the region, to be saying that so many people don't have access to these basic services. So I like the idea of them being reconnected. Okay, I don't like the idea of this. They promote. It seems to me that they're promoting this idea of a gift.
Yes,
and that is not. That's not what the government is supposed to do.
And that is, Mr. McMahon, in the spur of the moment.
And what happened?
That is what I'm getting at, because it's like saying, I'm going to give you $1 million. You get $1 million. You get $1 million.
Okay, Oprah.
Yes, you know what I'm saying. And at the end of the time, right, you shouldn't have to say, well, can you really give me $1 million? Because the point is, he's saying that he's going to give you $1 million.
1,000.
Well, no, I just being outrageous. Yeah, I'm just saying that.
But you see, Azad, what I don't like to is this impression that the citizenry must make decisions on your support because you're outdoing what was a bad policy previously. So it's now you have to outdo how many gifts, in inverted commas, were provided, how many tidbits is dished out, right? That I don't think that that's like operating the government as if people are it's a charity.
You see something like that?
Okay, Ira, we have to take another call.
Okay,
yeah.
yes.
Thanks for your contribution, Mr. McMahon.
Okay.
I don't like people coming.
But you see, he said something that I want to comment on.
Go ahead.
Do we have another call online?
No,
we lost it.
They dropped.
All right, but to that point, either which way, you cannot make everybody happy, right? Because look, the $1,000 that he announced comes with terms and conditions, and people who were all happy when he said $1,000, everybody, now that the terms and conditions are out, they're annoyed.
Okay, caller, go right ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I will want to believe when anything are announced, it is properly worked out before it is announced. If electricity is going to cut your supply, they will do it from the office because of these smart meters. So if everything is worked out, you should have a list of all who is disconnected. So if you could say immediately, they could flip a switch and you're back on. You don't have to wait. You could just flip the switch and you're back on and the thing. So I believe that the fact that they say immediately it could have happened. But I don't think that the policy was worked out before it was announced. That is why you have hiccups. I was told by somebody who worked for government that most of the time they make announcements, the people who are supposed to carry it out don't even know what they're supposed to do. So this could be a case of that, you know.
And as Mr. McMahon was saying, I am agree with Mr. McMahon on the line of the gifts. We are fastly becoming a welfare state. Sooner or later, nobody gonna want to work because government gonna look out for you. These things we have to stop. I mean, I ain't often no current, so it ain't gonna benefit me. I haven't worked for the year, so I might not get no $1,000.
But the
So
thing about
what
it,
does that do for me?
Carla, the thing about it, the point I'm trying to make is that when you're giving out these policies, don't mask them as if they are gifts, because they're not gifts. Because at the end of the day, it comes with criteria that you have to meet, and within reason. There's nothing special about the skeleton reset, because that has been the policy for months now, that you come in and you have a payment plan. So don't come to Parliament and mask it as if you're doing something different when you're not.
Gifts don't have a
Well,
criteria.
I think doing that as a politician, right? That's his gift. He craft. He could do that. The opposition now who's supposed to outline where he going and say no. This thing in place down there. You ain't coming with nothing new. That's the job for the opposition to outline that and highlight it, right? So as a politician, I have no problem with that. The politician do that because, as a matter of fact, the announcement was a political announcement, not a policy, because they're now putting things together to get it out. So it was a political announcement. The opposition was supposed to counter that announcement and say, well, what you're coming with your reset, you need to reset your reset, because your reset is not a reset. This is already a policy in place. You understand?
For your point.
That's my take on that part. But as a politician, you ain't expect nothing different from a politician. A politician will make political announcements. And the technocrats are who deal with the policies. So they say what they got to say, and the other people, them, got to work out something. I was told by one of them, that's how we done. You have to work out something to fit what they say. So now you see, you realize that the goalpost being shifting, because they're still working it out. That wasn't something that was well sit down and thought out. And at the end of the day, I am scared that at the end of the day, this country end up in a position that I don't want it to end up. We reached the IMF already. I know I lived through that. It's the first time ever in my life I had ever awful current. When the Fury surcharge was on. I lived through that. I know about that. And I'm scared. I'm scared that another Labour administration might be taking us down that road. Thanks for the time.
Thank you for your contribution.
And I want to be clear. I am simply saying that I want to be clear because I am simply saying that persons of influence or leaders should communicate to persons who they lead or govern clearly. There should be no room or little room for misinterpretation. Messages are often packaged as freebies for political points. The idea that it is okay to misrepresent for the sake of political mileage and sensation is not helpful. And that is the point I'm trying to make this morning.
No, I think you made it very clear, and I agree with you with that, because this, like the caller just said, this is what politicians do all the time. They go on their soapboxes, their platforms or whatever, and they say things to get political mileage. But I will still maintain that everything in life comes with terms and conditions. You made a point just now where you said it's a gift, right? Even with gifts, they have terms. I'm not going to roll up to you, I don't know you, and just give you a gift. It's either that you're homeless and I'm trying to help you. It's either that we're friends and I'm trying to help you. Aren't those terms and conditions?
Yeah, but those.
So everything comes with terms and conditions.
When you
but I agree with you that the wording should have been done better. I think we've actually exhausted that because we both agree with that. Like
so
the wording should have been done better, and I would have placed them in a different order.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Caller, go right ahead.
Jamster.
You
know this voice, huh? Morning, Azad, and morning, Candy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I love this topic because I've been talking about it, and I just want to chime in. You know who this is, right?
Sorry, no.
I know it.
Of course, it's me.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
sorry, I didn't recognize your voice.
I put on my bass voice this morning.
Oh.
Yeah,
Shoot.
this is a bass line. So, I have been saying to a couple people pretty much the same thing Ira was saying. Like this is when you start to create these expectations, you're setting up yourself for a disaster. And take it from somebody who has done these practices in relationships and failed miserably. Understand?
Oh boy.
Failed miserably because when they start to feel like, wait, I can get all of these things without having to do any work.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I come to my senses and I said, no. You need to. There needs to be equitable exchange for what's going on here. And then next thing is like, oh, all of a sudden I'm too good. No. Then you start to argue. And I'm saying that I think that their intentions are pure. Let us not disregard that. Nobody ever goes into government to try to make themselves go out of government. Nobody ever goes in government to try and actually make the entire nation be at a disadvantage. Their intentions are pure. People have been complaining that, what is the government doing? Poor people are crying out. And so they're responding. But I personally feel it's emotional and not necessarily rational, like knee-jerk, right? And so throwing money at problems does not always solve these, does not necessarily provide a solution to them. So what I'm scared about really is what happens if we were to have a natural disaster. Are we ready for something of that magnitude, for that shock? Like, despite all of this help that we're getting, do we have that confidence that we are also ready? Like, in what capacity, shape, or form are we ready for that? Are they really showing up? I don't know. Have they said anything about how much they're showing up for stuff like that? Has that come out?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so that's what I'm worried about. These economic shocks. The government, at the end of the day, is like our parents. And at the end of the day, when you're a parent and you have children, your children always know, they just know, Daddy and Mommy going to figure it out. They don't have anything to worry about. They just know when it comes to the things that really, really matter, Mommy and Daddy and that's why children walk around without any care in the world, because you just feel Mommy and Daddy going to figure it out. Okay, Mommy said she's broke, but you know what? I'm still going to eat. Mommy's going to figure it out. So that's what I want to have, but I don't know what information that they're providing to give us that level of confidence. In the grand scheme of things, when you look at juxtapose these, like Ira was saying, gifts, I would say initiatives.
Yes.
It may not be that much in terms of how much money is coming in. Nobody knows. Do we know how much money is really coming in?
We don't have a flat figure, no.
Yeah,
no.
and no,
I think we just got like estimates, and do we have the most recent one? No.
Okay, so it may not be that much, to be very honest, because we're talking about billions, right? And a couple thousand here, a couple $500 there pales in comparison to that. So I would say, yeah, I think that they're not foolish. They can afford to do some of the things that they're doing. I'm just wondering, again, if we were to suffer another shock by some way, shape, or form, are we going to be ready to literally do the things that, like I said, as parents?
Yeah.
I like what you said, though, E, with us becoming a welfare state, because I already feel like, and Lord, they're going to come for me, but this generation has a sense of entitlement that I really can't relate to or understand. And I already feel like we're on that path. So I do take your point, yours and Mr. McMahon, whereby we're becoming so accustomed to getting things from the government that we feel like we don't have to put in much effort anymore. So, I really don't want to see us go down that road.
Yeah.
So
And-
it's something to
And let
keep
me
in
tell you,
mind. But again,
when election comes, it's either they're going to be able to put up more or not be able to put up as much because of the things that would have happened leading up to that. So, and at that point, the narrative for the opposition will be like, oh, look at what's going on. You guys are not doing anything. And then you're going to be like, oh, look at what we did all these past days. Okay, what are you doing for me now?
Yeah, and I want
And
to...
so...
Go ahead, E.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, and I want to make it clear, because even when you look at things, right, and again, the messaging, and I don't want to get over the point, because when I'm looking at contracts that are written, and when I'm looking at, agreements between parties, I'm not looking at whether or not the person who wrote it intended something else. I'm going based on what is written. And if I'm representing somebody, I'm going to represent them based on the fact of what that person told you you're going to get. I'm not going and say, well, it would have been unreasonable at the time, that would have been the conclusion. No, you made a promise, and that promise that you gave and the obligation that you wrote, I am going to ensure that it is enforced. And at the same time, I'm saying that messages should be clearly communicated. And so when you make a promise, make it clear. Don't try to misinterpret the individual. Mislead or misrepresent what you're saying. In addition to that, someone has just pointed out to me that in 2016, Unity will have cleared all arrears. So it's not unreasonable that could be done, because it has been done before. So
clear all arrears across the board or within a certain amount.
It says that the individual says that when Unity did their skeleton forgiveness in 2016, all arrears for homeowners were wiped off. So it's not unreasonable, because it has been done before. And again, I am making the point, when you have, because this is like a contract, and even though there are some advertisements that are unilateral contracts, that all you have to do is perform, and once the person performs, you're entitled. For example, if I put out something that says, anybody who finds my lost dog is going to get $500. Once I perform by going out and finding that dog, you can't come at the end stage and say, well, I'm not giving you the $500, because that was a unilateral contract. So we have to be very careful with our wordings, and that is why I've always pressed. Let's be clear with our message. Let's be clear with what we're saying, because I am not for the fanfare of political gimmicks and tricks. I am more about transparency and what your message is.
I feel this is where your law career going to clash with your political career.
No, because both of them will coincide. Let's be clear and transparent.
You're absolutely right. The wording could have been
Let me
better.
just tell you
I
one more
can't.
thing
I
before I
can't
go.
say that more.
Before I go, one more thing I want to say. I'm going to reiterate what I said, that their intentions are good, and that's what I'm saying. Their intentions are good, but piggybacking on Azad's comment, the transparency and the clarity needs some work. So when I say that their intentions are good, don't you think that they can afford to give everybody $1,000 with no questions, if, ends, or buts, no conditions, no thing? Yeah, I think they have enough money for that, right? Which is why they're coming and saying, well, these are the conditions. It's not a freebie for all. You have to have put certain contributions for X amount of years and this is that. Even when they did the double salary last year or every year, you can't start working in November and get a full double salary in December, right?
Thank you so much for saying that, E. You have to put terms and conditions.
But what I'm saying, if there are terms and conditions, express those terms and conditions there and then. Don't leave people to guess.
Explicitly, yes.
Express
when you're making the announcement, yes.
And that is my point.
That's where they need to work. So I appreciate that there are terms and conditions, and it's not as free as people seem to think that it is. And while we are saying, okay, with the whole scale like reset thing, they should just kill everybody's arrears, which would be great. I think this government is also trying to walk that fine line, and it is not an easy walk, because you cannot please everybody.
Right. True.
You cannot please everybody, because if they had come and said, listen, we're going to clear arrears for everybody, and then people are going to like, well, what happened to me who's been paying all this time? Do I get credit?
Right.
People will complain.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And
if
persons
they-
were complaining.
Thank you so much, but we gotta run to
Yeah.
fireproof.
Yeah, all
Once
right,
we're
I
finished,
gotta
we can
go.
call back. But thank you so much for your
Yeah.
contribution.
And persons were complaining. I heard persons
Exactly.
complaining, saying that
Exactly.
how is it that those persons are getting arrears and what is it for them?
Didn't I say that just before call in? You cannot please everybody.
guys.
'cause-
But be clear with your message. Be transparent. And we
Okay.
have fireproof. We have Timothy, how are you doing? we've been hot in here on these topics.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Hey kids, drink healthy.
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Fruta. Fruta full of vitamin thing. Real fruit juice, not full of vitamin. Pop open the goodness, just dive in. Fruta every night, fruta every morning.
It's the amazing taste and quality in fruit juice you've come to know and love. Anytime, anywhere, any occasion. Fruta is your tastier, better, healthier choice.
We got the vibes, fruta. Real, real nice, fruta.
And for the families, remember to pick up the 1 liter.
It's 9:36. Time for fireproof. We've got Officer Tim. He is rearing and ready to go.
Oh my goodness. And we are back. Good morning. Let me put some respect on your name, Officer.
Thank you very much, Candy.
Timothy Martin.
Good morning.
So we were
Morning,
just in here.
youngster.
I was in here harassing him about being in the Independence Parade and screaming out his name, and he came forward, fully decked out in what do you guys call it? Dress uniform?
A ceremonial.
Ceremonial wear, and he was leading the pack, and that was kind of like probably one of the few persons I knew.
I think I probably heard you.
Yeah, I was screaming out, Timothy! Because I only know you and Inspector Phipps, right? And the two of y'all were leading your battalion.
Right.
She's been an AC on the wall.
Yeah. But you guys did an awesome job, and you guys look really nice in the uniform. I don't even remember. Have I seen that one before? You came in here with it once, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you guys did an awesome job. I was very proud. I was like, yeah, look, I know him. That's Timothy. So
thank you very much.
Thank you for your service. You guys did a very good job presenting. So
thank you.
Hopefully y'all win. They give prizes.
Well, they normally say who won, but I didn't get who won.
Who won? Not yet. Maybe they're still tallying. My God, bring in an outside
How
audit firm.
How you feeling though? You feel like okay then, Candy, as an outside judge.
So okay, let me just put this out there. I'm kind of obsessed with white. I think I said that this morning. So the whites looked really good.
Which was the Coast Guard.
The whites looked really good. I was like, hello. And then the Taiwanese in white. They had a Taiwanese captain there in white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
can't judge.
I see you really enjoyed that parade.
I did. Inspector Phipps looked nice too. And then, kind of biased because there's a bunch of women all dressed in white. Yeah, don't put me to judge, yeah. Besides, don't put me in that position. Now you're going to make me go against Timothy, and I just paid the man all these good compliments. I plead the fifth.
He's trying to draw a rift.
I know, like, what you doing, Azard?
I'm trying to cause fire in here.
Thank God Timothy here. Fireproof.
That's right.
What are we discussing today?
So today, we had an incident recently, about 2 days ago. We over in Nevis. I don't know if you guys heard about it. We had an aircraft
my God.
the water.
Yeah, we heard about it.
Just wanna shed some light on that, and maybe we could have a little discussion.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the Of course, the incident took place on Wednesday the 20th of September, and our unit at the Van Samre Fire Hall, we got the call about 17:58, which is about 2 minutes to 6. So we were able to deploy our units to the scene. Now, the thing that persons don't may not know regarding the aerodrome firefighting. Sometimes we often say that they don't leave the airport. It's just for incidents surrounding the airport. However, if a plane crashes outside of the airport, then the unit would respond to that. So predominantly to bush fires, structural fires, they leave that to the municipal side unless it is really necessary for them to come out. But in the event of a plane crash outside, a plane incident outside of the airport, they have to respond. So they did respond to that. So the incident was, an aircraft, a Piper Cherokee. It had 2 souls on board. That crash landed in the ocean by Herbert's Beach, which is in Newcastle, Nevis. And the aircraft, it landed about maybe 50 yards from shore. And it was in fairly shallow waters. So the pilot and co-pilot, those are the only 2 souls on board. They were able to make it to shore. So we're thankful that nothing serious happened regarding that incident. So the pilot, he said that the plane started to encounter a bit of an engine problem. So they were leaving the VC Bird International Airport, which is over in Antigua, heading to St. Martin. And they tried. They couldn't make it to St. Martin, of course, so they tried to make an emergency landing over in Nevis, Van Samre, Nevis. However, they fell short of reaching the airport. So maybe about a mile from the airport is where the incident.
I was trying to get that in my head, like, okay, how far away from the airport?
It was about a mile away from.
Relatively close.
Yeah, pretty close. So the pilot, he had minor damage to his left arm. He was able to be checked out by the EMTs. He was transported to the hospital just to make sure that everything is okay with him. However, the co-pilot, he was okay. So they checked him on the scene, and he was deemed to be all right.
Okay.
Yeah. So the fuel, we had about 23 gallons of fuel on board. The thing about fuel when it comes to an aircraft, doing an emergency landing, for some planes, they often dump their fuel, to limit, especially if they know that they're going to crash land. To limit the amount of fire that would take place, if any at all. So they had roughly about 23 gallons of fuel on board. Then the damages.
Were they able to release that into the water, the air,
I don't think that was necessary. I don't think that was necessary at the time. The damages that was done as a result of the crash, we had the left wing and the front landing gear that was damaged on the plane.
Somebody's asking on the chat if you thought that it was a good thing that they did not make it to the airport, realizing that they were encountering engine problems.
Well, the thing about those small aircrafts, they have good gliding capabilities. So the probability of them really crash landing, doing a lot of damage is minimal to what with regards to the bigger planes.
In other words, it's likely he probably would have been able to land
Probably
normally.
would have been
Right,
able to
and
land.
not
gliding, yeah.
Right,
collide,
right.
crash,
Mhm.
and then explode type of thing. Okay.
Yeah, so they have good gliding capabilities. That's a
Okay.
good thing about those small aircrafts.
And you said the name, but in my head, like I'm not an aircraft person. How many persons can that usually seat? Like I'm trying to figure out, is it one that they use for Win Air, like a Leah, like a small? It's a smaller.
Smaller, yeah, smaller than the Winnie.
That's like a four-seater or so.
Is it?
Yeah, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Piper Cherokee. Okay, I'll look at the Piper Cherokee.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just happy that there were no fatalities.
Yeah.
I mean, we started, I was like, that's real? Because somebody sent it to me. I was like, we don't get plane crashes like that in the Caribbean. And I went to look, and they're like, oh, it's real. But okay, nobody got injured.
Thankfully.
Were you guys able to pull the wreckage or the plane out of the...
Yes, they were able to. They got the plane onto shore, and they were able to, load it onto a flatbed truck via the use of a crane. And, they would have the investigations going in terms of what might have caused the engine failure, etc. But thankfully, the plane was in one piece, so it makes that investigation a bit more easier for the investigators.
Okay, it says the Piper Cherokee has two variants. It has a 2-seat and a 4-seat variant, so we're not sure which one it is. but
Right,
yeah.
right. But it was two persons on the plane
It
at
was
least,
only
and
two
they
persons on
they
the
made it off safely. Thank heavens.
So that incident it led to multiple agencies arriving on scene. So we had fire and rescue services, we had the police, we had the disaster office, all on scene. Making sure that everything is coordinated well.
Yeah.
Wow.
I am grateful that, no life was lost, because I don't know, I have a phobia when it comes to
I heard
those
you
things.
yesterday,
Yes,
even I
yes.
wasn't in here. I tuned in.
Yeah.
So,
So
but thankfully, we've never had any plane crashes in the Caribbean like that. So, we'll keep it that way. I think the biggest we had was the Pan Am one with the students going to Cuba. I think that was probably the biggest one.
can you have to bring up those things?
I'm just saying, it was years ago. I wasn't even born. And you think I'm old. Look at me trying to, calm him down. Somebody's asking who was responsible for the investigation. Is somebody, or is it a group effort?
Well, the civil aviation, they would do the investigation as well. Police would do their preliminary investigation, making inquiries, etc. But the civil aviation would come and also the company of the plane and so would also do their investigation as well.
Oh, okay.
Does the FAA have any purview? I mean, I know we have a OECS civil aviation setup, but it would just basically
they would have some interest in what took place, finding out exactly what happened and maybe
FAA or
ways to mitigate to prevent that from happening again.
FAA or OECS?
Well,
Because FAA.
FAA is more like the United States.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Wouldn't it be dependent on where the plane is registered?
I know,
and
but the reason
citizens?
I ask is because I know, for example, that they compel us to buy certain safety equipment at the airports and so on. So
I would
that's
have to
what-
do a little bit of homework
question,
on
but-
that. Yeah, I would have to do a little bit of homework on that to ascertain.
Like if the OECS analog would have to send a report to them or whatever. I just wonder. Just out of curiosity.
It's an interesting question,
where
but
that escalates to.
yeah. I'm thinking in my head I done getting protective. Like why OECS gotta send them something? Like but yeah. but it's a good question.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna make me go Google.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Because initially I really thought it was a prank. I was like, what plane crash? Because somebody sent it to me. Like, let me tell you, news on WhatsApp does travel faster than actual news agencies, right?
Yep.
So when the person sent it to me, I was like, is that even here? So see me, but it's in the water, right? So you can't really see any landmarks to say, well, it's definitely Nevis. But then I saw other agencies putting it out. So
And you're talking about the Facebook. I actually saw someone who who said, and in humor, said that if, Mother Cop does his recordings at incidents, the person said if Mother Cop isn't in Nevis doing a recording,
It's
at
not
this,
happening.
it's not happening. When I saw that, I was like,
So if he's not there, it didn't happen.
Yeah, he tried to say he's there at every occasion, every place that something happens. That if he wasn't there at that time, they're not believing
it's
it.
not happening.
Yeah.
Y'all crazy.
Give us a call, guys.
Yeah.
Call or go right ahead.
Yes, I think that there is a counterpart to the FAA for the sub-region. I think it's the East, is it East Caribbean Civil
Yeah, I couldn't remember the
Aviation
name,
Authority
but
or
I know
something
there
like
is
that.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the name.
Right,
Echo.
yeah.
Echo.
But the FAA may want to get involved since it was a U.S. manufactured aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
And the company itself may want to know exactly what happens. So as if there, for instance, there needs to be some kind of field, some technical change that has to be done. They do
Right.
it
Good
on the
point.
plane,
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat
I wa-
actually said the plane is registered in the U.S. It's showing an N. So
Yeah.
I guess they have that background
Yeah,
information.
someone on the chat
Right.
said so.
So
Yeah. But I just wondered, not necessarily related, but I did see that aircraft. I think it was from Martinique. They said in the Win FM news report was circling concerning that Haitian boat situation, and I just wondered, the fire officer is still there?
yes,
Yes,
he is.
he is. He's here. He's
Right.
listening. And
Okay. I just wondered about the coordination. What actually happens whether it's that plane crashing into the sea or some other emergency? What actually happens? What's the process involving whether other Coast Guards, other aircraft, that sort of thing? I just wondered if what is the coordination like?
All right. So in reference to the plane crash, that's something that we would respond to right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course police and Coast Guard. I'm not certain if Coast Guard was able to get to that particular incident, but that would be an interest for Coast Guard as well. In relation to what you spoke about the ship the boat that ran aground, where you had that plane hovering over trying to search for persons. We heard of it, and we were put on standby, just in the event that they needed us for any reason. The Coast Guard and the police, they were the ones who ran that operation. I think it was yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody
They would have contacted the internet the other regional people to come and assist. That's it.
Yes, I think the plane was as you said was from Martinique or something like that. Martinique,
I think.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
they came over to try to see if they could spot any survivors, if anyone was in the water, etc.
Is that part of a regional response? I mean, who pays for that? Do you know?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow.
It's probably, I don't know, it's part of the regional security system. I don't know.
I would imagine.
It might
that.
be.
I would. There has to be some collaboration in order for that to take place so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and finally, when things like this happen, who is responsible for making a release, some kind of press release to the public? Because in the case of this Haitian boat incident, I'm not hearing much about it. I don't know which agency. Which agency would take the lead in giving out information on this?
Well, given the fact that it's a Well, it might not be, but it might be channeled through the police because police would be doing the investigation. So I am thinking it may be the coming from the police side of things. Police is predominantly deals with law enforcement, so they would be, in my mind, would be the ones to release such information.
Somebody in the chat is asking, the plane that crash landed off Nevis, would it have made the approach from the west side or the east side, and what would be the degree of danger from either side?
Well, in terms of planes landing, the wind direction plays a big part in that. Now, if it's a crash landing incident, emergency landing incident, I don't know what the approach would have been for the pilot, but he would have, I guess, taken the simplest route in order for him to land. So whether it means going with the wind or against the wind, he would have to make that determination.
Well, it's interesting that he chose Nevis. I mean, if you look at the geography, if he was going from Antigua to St. Martin, I don't know, maybe Barbuda or even, St. Bart's might have been more en route.
Right.
But I don't know, right? Or for that matter, even Montserrat, which is closer to Antigua. But, I don't know. Try Nevis. At least he's alive.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the important thing. The important thing that everyone is alive.
Thank you so much for your contribution.
Okay, then.
Thank you for your contribution,
All right,
Mr.
then,
McMahon.
guys.
Yeah. We're going to do a quick wrap up. So we're going to take a short break and come back.
Any last words,
Yeah,
Timothy?
Tim.
Officer Martin?
The one.
Since I see him in his suit,
Yes.
Can't even be, informal anymore.
The informal
Go ahead.
is fine.
Go ahead, do your wrap up.
All right. So yes. So we just want to let the general public know that the fire officers, we're not just here to fight fires. We execute a number of duties. Rescuing is one of those duties that we perform. So in the event of that plane crash outside of the airport, you see, we responded, and had it been a situation where, let's say, persons had to be brought ashore, etc., I'm sure we would have played a vital part in terms of getting, if it were more persons, getting them to safety and in the hands of medical care.
Awesome. And thank you so much for your service. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Yes, awesome.
Hope you have a
Thanks
restful
much,
weekend.
And
A regular week next week.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say regular because regular might mean you have 5 fires, right?
Oh, gosh.
But be safe out there, and thank you so much for coming in with us today.
You see words and interpretation.
Hi. I'm going to kick him under the table.
And that could only be interpreted one way.
Yes. When you get it, you're going to know. But thank you so much for coming in today, Timothy. Have a good one.
All right, Jamster. All right.
Yeah,
Take care, man. All right,
Stay safe. Stay fireproof.
Thank you.
All right, guys, and that will do it for us today. Any
Yeah.
last words, sir?
I mean, it's been hot in here, especially with us in these white clothes.
The white is probably saving you.
Yes.
You hope you better be thankful it wasn't black.
Oh, we'll have had steaming tea this morning.
Boy.
Yes.
Safe.
Yes. So I just want to thank everyone who tuned in. I want to say, have a blessed weekend. The discussions will keep happening because, we're here for it. We're here to talk. We're here to give our point of views. And we may have different points, and that's okay.
That's quite all right.
We may have different views, and that's fine. That's how we get discussions going.
Yes. I want to say thank you for tuning in and for bringing to the fore topics that you guys think are important. But I also want to admonish you that don't take everything on the face of it. Read the fine print and find out.
But sometimes there's no fine print
you
to
said
be
your
read.
last words. These are mine. Go in, find out before proceeding.
I agree with that. And I agree with reading the fine print.
Yeah.
Especially, but you can't put in fine print when fine print ain't there.
I know.
But I agree with you say.
Let's be careful with our words.
Yes, let's be careful.
And have a
with our
blessed
words.
weekend. Be safe, everyone, and see you back here on Monday.
Yes, Island Tea.
Found the sound.